Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Gentech PC product showcase. In today's full-length featured review, we'll be covering the new MSI Crosshair Rainbow Six Edition. The MSI Crosshair is an upper middle tier gaming laptop that has a good focus on performance versus the cost. It's rocking the Nvidia RTX3070, the full 140 watt version of that, so you get the maximum performance of it, bringing it very close to the RTX 3080. The unique styling is also something to note here, so those that are looking for something that's a little bit different, you'll see how it looks when we get it fully unboxed. So we'll start off our review with our basic unboxing. As you can see, it does come double boxed. The plain cardboard box on the outside offers some extra protection, and it's not very flashy as to advertise what you're having delivered. The product box also not too flashy. You can see the color scheme on the box, and that's a hint of what the laptop will look like. And on the inside of our product box, we have our small auxiliary box, and we get a few nice extras this time around. So we have a themed gaming mouse, which will match the laptop. We get a mouse pad this time, and we also get a full digital copy of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction Deluxe Edition. So let's unbox and take a close look at our power supply so we can see how much power this laptop is being given. And it seems the small print isn't really coming into focus, but we can tell you that this comes with a 240 watt power supply. Next up, let's unveil the themed gaming mouse. So what we have here is a USB connected MSI brand gaming mouse that's themed with the Rainbow Six colors, yellow and black. It's got all the buttons you need to be pretty effective, so it's a very nice thing to have included with the laptop. So now we can move on to unboxing the laptop itself. As you can see, it's very well packaged. We have foam on all the edges, which will keep it from getting crushed or shock damage. And then we have the plastic over the top of it, which keeps it from getting scratched up. And also, if there was any moisture that got on the box, it would protect it from the water. So the Crosshair is a 15.6-inch laptop. Now you can actually see how those color schemes all come together. Great ventilation on the bottom. And then right underneath of the laptop is where we're going to find our mouse pad. So again, continuing on our theme, the Rainbow Six yellow and black. It's a nice size mouse pad, very thick, well made. So this would be a great include. And then right along with our mouse pad is going to be basically the product information, and you should find your digital code to redeem your copy of Rainbow Six. So now with everything unboxed and the laptop powered on, we can kind of take a look at everything that came in the box, just to give you a look and feel of how it might look once you get it set up at home. You can see the attention to detail here. The mouse pad has the protected edges so they don't fray. The mouse is a very nice gaming mouse that's just included. Everything is themed together, so the mouse pad, the mouse, and the laptop. Even the bottom right hand side of the laptop where we normally see product information, we got a theme sticker instead. In the center, we have an oversized touchpad with the integrated left and right clicks. And we still do have the Intel and Nvidia stickers on the bottom left. Now the keyboard is something to be marveled at. It has the uniquely colored WSAD keys. The whole keyboard is backlit, and it's a special 1.7 millimeter travel on the keys, specifically tailored for gamers. And we also have a full number pad in this case, which is pretty impressive for a 15.6-inch laptop. So here's a last look at the bottom side of the laptop. And as we move on up to the screen area, you can see we have Windows 11 pre-installed, and we have an integrated webcam and microphone at the top. And this particular webcam is a 1080p model instead of the standard 720p. So now let's take a tour along the outside perimeter of the laptop and take a look at our connectivity. On the left-hand side, we have our DC port for power and charging, some ventilation, and 2 USB ports. And now moving over to the rear part of the laptop, we can see there's more styling back here. The lid of the LCD has a unique logo and of course the same color scheme. And down below the hinges as well, we've got that nice bright yellow. We have ample exhaust on the left and right sides, but we don't have any interfaces for connectivity on the rear of the laptop. And finally, moving over to the right-hand side, the interface is from left to right. We have a 3.5mm combo jack for headphones or headset, a USB port, a USB Type-C mini display port, a full-size HDMI connection, and the RJ45 network jack. So here is one last look at our laptop with the lid closed, just to give you an idea of how it looks and how it would fit into a bag before we move into our benchmarking section. So our first benchmark measurement is going to be the weight of our laptop, and it comes in at 5 pounds and 1 ounce. Once you also add in the power supply, that brings the total carry weight up to 6 pounds and 11 ounces. Now moving along into the Windows Device Manager to take a look at our hardware, you can see the Nvidia RTX3070 and the Core i7-12700H are our main components. This laptop does have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Moving over into the display, here's our monitor ID if you'd like to look that up for more information. And you can see it is a Quad HD 2560 by 1440 at 165 Hz resolution. As we are about to move into our performance benchmarks, we want to take a look at our current temperatures before the system is under load. You can see that the CPU has anywhere from 68 degrees down to as low as 49 degrees Celsius depending on the core. And down below as we get to the GPU, right now the current GPU temperatures are about 45 degrees Celsius. A quick look at the GPU-Z information for the GPU. And this is the unrestricted version, the full power version of the RTX 3070. And a quick look at the CPU-Z information on the Core i7. So here come our performance scores. We're currently running 3D Mark Firestrike. And while that's running, we're going to use our thermal camera to take a look at the hotspots. We can see the keyboard area has quite a bit of the exhaust happening for the system. We can see that it's warm there. But down below, the touchpad area is nice and cool. So where your hands will be resting, it'll be nice and cool and you won't get sweaty palms. As I move to the side, the intake and exhaust for the laptop, you can see those are the hot spots. So the system is doing a good job at drawing in air and getting it out the back. And of course, we'll verify the cooling here in a moment when we get done with our benchmarks and take a look at the actual measurements with the internal sensors. So the scores are in, and Firestrike came in at 14,096 points, which is a fairly respectable score based on the hardware in this laptop. As far as the thermals, first up is our CPU, and it came in, depending on the core, we saw as high as 100 degrees Celsius, but that was only on 2 cores. We saw higher thermals on our last review as well. It seems that this Intel CPU is just very difficult to cool in such a small form factor. Now down below, the GPU stayed fairly cool at 75 degrees on the core and 82 degrees on the hotspot. So our next benchmark is going to be Cinebench R23. So while Cinebench is running, here is a quick look at the sound levels from the exhaust using a sound meter. These numbers are worst case scenario being right next to the exhaust, but we do measure all the laptops the same, so you can easily compare this to other similar laptops from our other reviews. So with Cinebench finishing up, it's checking in with a score of 14,759 on the multi-core portion. The single core scores look a little bit off in this particular test. And now we're moving into our final part of our review, which is going to be the disassembly of the system. So looking at the underside of the system, you can see there's very much a large portion of the bottom that's open for ventilation to help keep the system cool. Getting into the system requires removing several screws, and they are of different lengths. So if you ever take the laptop apart, be sure to keep track of where the screws go. Once we remove all the screws, the bottom panel will come off completely, and it gives us access to the internals. So first impressions, it's a fairly clean looking system underneath. Nothing is hard to get to. Down below at the battery, we have a 90 watt-hour battery. Not the largest capacity we've seen, but not very far behind. We do have one of the M2 form factor SSDs, and right above it, our wireless card. We do have a second unoccupied M2 slot to add a secondary SSD if we wanted to. So now moving further along in the disassembly process, we took all the screws out necessary to take the entire cooling assembly off. It's a nice dual fan setup. We see one fan is a little bit larger than the other, and the heat pipes are interconnected between the two. We do see a use of thermal pads and thermal paste used in combination with each other, the paste being on the CPU and GPU dies and the thermal pads being used for the other components. Here is our battery fully removed, our system RAM fully removed, SSD fully removed, and this is what the system looks like bare bones without removing the motherboard. We can see our CPU and GPU dies up close and how they were pasted, and the remaining thermal pads that are on the other components. So with that, we've actually completed the disassembly of the unit, and it's also going to bring us to the conclusion of our review. We hope that you enjoyed our in-depth review of the MSI Crosshair and that you were able to find the video both entertaining and educational. We still have plenty of resources available to you. If you would like to take a closer look at this model, check out the video description and you'll find the product page link with the current pricing and availability and the full product specs. If you would like to share any questions or comments, feel free to post down in the comments section below, and you can share your question or comments with anyone else that's enjoying the video. And if you need any one-on-one personalized service, feel free to contact us by phone or email. Once again, we just want to remind you, this is Gentech PC, and we'll see you next time.